And what I do for inspiration on a daily basis, two big things. Number one, I read. And when I say read, every morning that's how I start my day, no matter where I am in the world. I subscribe to a bunch of people online, whether it's blogs that they write or websites and newsletters that they send out. My top three for inspiration, and may totally not float your boat, but for me and where I am in my life and what I do for other people, John Maxwell for leadership. I just think he has a really unique perspective on how the whole world is just a team and a community, and that's really inspiring to me to read those powerful words. He actually does a word of the day and goes on about it for 2 minutes on video each day, so I like to listen to that. Second is Michael Port. Amazing man that just boils business down to bullet points and easy to use systems, so I help that kind of drive my day, my business life. And then I'd say the last person is Dan Waldschmidt. It only comes once a week, but just a realist that helps me remember it's okay to fail, it's okay to screw up, and life is just kind of a crapshoot sometimes, and you have to deal with it and make it what you want it to be. So those are my big three each day, and I used to think it was a waste of time, waking up at 5:30, grabbing a cup of coffee and sitting down in front of the computer and browsing, and I realized that it sets my day up for success, puts me in the right frame of mind. And the second is for inspiration would be remembering my reason for being, and that comes by way of people. And the saying, it takes a village, knowing that my family, number one most important thing in my life, a 3-year-old and a husband, both very important to me and constant source of inspiration, just knowing that I created this neat little family that's going to do things in the world. So I always remind myself of them with pictures, and hopefully most of the time being in the same place with them. And then second, all of my colleagues that, I'm in the fitness industry, and it's very isolating because we're all entrepreneurs in our own way, but remembering that any success I've had in this industry either came from someone giving me an opportunity, working on a team with somebody that made, the sum of its parts better than what it would be alone, and having pictures of those people, emails from those people. And the last thing I'd say is I keep a little praise folder. This is so ridiculous, but do it, it'll make you really happy. So in my email inbox, I have a praise folder, and anytime I get an email from the people that I've just mentioned, or people in my workshops, or people that I've worked with or crossed paths with in my life, I drag them over, and I don't have to look at them until I'm having a really bad day, or you've got that negative Nelly in your class, or the negative customer that you interface with, and I have to pull out that praise folder, read back through something that someone said to me along the way, and it just starts my day over, hit the reset button. So those would be my things that I do for inspiration on a daily basis.
When I'm looking for inspiration or I want to lift my spirits, what I do is I sign up for something completely disruptive that is not something I would experience in my normal workout routine or my daily life. So might be skydiving or bungee jumping or parachuting or river rafting, something that takes a little bit of bravery, that's a little bit scary and unique, and also something that requires a physical strength and a mental strength that I don't have to rely on in my everyday. And you don't have to do that very often to actually reset your entire inspiration level. One experience like that can keep you fresh for 6 months, and I rely on that all the time as the way to kind of reset my gears and to get me motivated and excited for whatever is coming up next.
When I need to get inspired, I look at popular culture and I look at things that people have done that I think are really amazing. And it's slightly competitive, but I hold myself to that standard and I say, what is something I could do that would be on the same caliber? So I have 3 things that are in my all-time favorite, my most creative list. And the first one would be the water show at the Bellagio. If you've ever seen that, I think that is just so inspirational and creative. The second thing is a classic music video by OK Go, where they've choreographed the whole thing on treadmills, and that always sparks my creativity. And then the third one is any song that's written by Train. So I look to those 3 things, or I go out into other social media and popular culture and I look for something that I think is just so highly creative, and I hold myself to that standard, and I find that I'm way more inspired.
When I need inspiration, I have a few things that I do. One thing that really helps is to make plans for a future event. It's best if the event is a fun event and has a planning component that requires a little creativity, like going somewhere new, and involves people that you're eager to see. Anticipating future events makes us more hopeful and happy. On a regular day when I just need a regular pick-me-up, a little caffeine helps, and I have some go-to songs that usually make my day a little better. In fact, I have a playlist entitled Good Day on my iPod that I crank up when I need it. I also like to read books or watch videos that take me to a world that I've never experienced before. It opens up new vistas to me and helps me be more creative. And perhaps the best thing that I do on a regular basis is that I talk to those friends and colleagues of mine that get me motivated. There are some people who just get me going, and after I spend some time with them, I'm ready to seize the day. Along with friends that motivate me, I also have friends that make me laugh, and often laughter is the best medicine. Laughter makes the whole day lighter and lifts my spirits. Now, when I have to write something or give a presentation or develop a program, I have a regular Saturday morning step class that I go to. I put my step bench in the back of the room, and I do simpler versions of the choreography that the whole class is doing so that my brain isn't tied up trying to figure out what my feet should be doing. There's something about the energy of the group doing the same thing together to upbeat music that I find more motivating. Then, about 5 or 10 minutes into the workout, the cascade of chemicals is triggered by the cardiovascular activity, and I start thinking more creative thoughts. In fact, many of the ideas and comments that I've thought of during the course of Up UCI were generated in the back of Joanne's step class. Other people get the same result when they go for a brisk walk or run. Likewise, when I need to come up with an idea fast, I take a walk, and usually something comes to me. According to researchers, it's because the blood to the brain and the chemicals that increase the person's ability to think creatively. On those rare occasions when I'm down or feeling sorry for myself, I usually give myself some time to mope around and mourn. Then I plan to get going. There are times when it's appropriate to feel sad. Sometimes you just gotta sing the blues. But after an appropriate time of feeling sad, one thing I do when I'm ready to get more motivated is that I think about the advantages that I have that others aren't allowed. I have friends and family members who've died, and I think to myself how they would love to have the opportunity to do anything. That makes me want to take advantage of the gift of life that is a privilege that should be honored. Another thing that helps me out of the doldrums is to consciously do something nice for someone else. When you do an act of charity, you forget about your own problems a little. And of course, even though I may not feel like doing it, when I'm sad, cardiovascular exercise makes me feel better, like it does for most people. So if you want a quick pick-me-up, pick yourself up, put on that iPod and go for a brisk walk, and think about all of the blessings that you have. You're likely to feel better fast.
When I need to lift my spirits, I go for a run. It doesn't matter whether it's 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, or even longer. It doesn't matter what the weather is. It can be the worst weather, it can be great weather. I go out and run, and it clears my head, and it always lifts my spirits.
When I need inspiration, I like to take a hot cup of tea, either caffeinated or decaffeinated, and just meditate. I like to have an aromatherapy candle with usually soy, and just smell and just breathe and just taste, and most of all, just be. I believe that we're human beings, not human doings, so sometimes it's okay just to pause, collect your thoughts, connect to the 5 senses, the taste, the smell, what you see, what you hear. I may play some new age music that I don't use for fitness. I don't want to play something to which I sweat. And then I'll concentrate on what I feel in my body and just be present. I also, for inspiration, if I have to go beyond just closing my eyes and sipping tea and smelling a candle, will go to church or read some sacred books, or even go to something free and simple like dailymotivator.com, where you just sign up for free and get an email motivational message every single day and read that.